the matchup that I believe every member of the Mafia had circled on their calendar once the NFL schedule released, and it's Kansas City coming to Buffalo. We are here in Week 9, the biggest game on the regular season schedule for the Bills in their pursuit of the #1 overall seed in the AFC. They come into this one as home underdogs, 2-point dogs to KC here, and the people out west, they're expecting fireworks once again here. 52.5 points is the over-under in this one. We're going to preview Bills versus Chiefs on today's show. Going to go through a Bills and Chiefs deep dive. Going to get into the injury news and reports from both equations here, Kansas City's and Buffalo's. We'll get to my 5 keys to victory. That's how Buffalo comes away with a victory here, and then we'll close it out with my score prediction for Kansas City versus Buffalo. Before we dive into all of that and much more on today's show, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are in a Week 9 sub battle against the Chiefs support, who is back making videos here at Chat Sports. So we need to dominate them off the field before we dominate the Chiefs on the field. So if you love the Bills, you want free content every single day, go down below and hit that subscribe button and join us for our watch party on Sunday, as we will be live at 3:45 Eastern time for Bills versus Chiefs. Going to do a whole pregame tailgate. Going to be bringing you guys live play-by-play, stats, analysis, and so much more. We do watch parties every single week as well, so join us whenever the Bills play and for Week 9 against Kansas City. Let's talk about those Chiefs, man, who the Bills are matching up with once again, dancing with the team that they just cannot beat in the biggest moments. As you know, the Bills dominate Kansas City in the regular season over the last 4 seasons. 4-0 in the regular season, Buffalo is, but they are 0-4 when it comes to the postseason, dating back to 2021. The Chiefs this season, they look all the way back, man. 5-3 record after an 0-2 start. They have an plus 83-point differential. That is a higher point differential than they had throughout the entire 2024 season, where they were 15-2. How ridiculous is that? A couple big wins over Detroit, Baltimore, with Lamar Jackson in the lineup, of course, and the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football in Week 8. They're riding a 3-game win streak right now. They are hot, and it's on the shoulders of their quarterback, of course. Yes, the boogeyman is back, and I'd say he's all the way back for revenge this season here. As last year, people could have categorized it as a down year for Mahomes, especially a down performance from him in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia, and it kind of seems like he's on a revenge tour at this point. About 3rd in the league in passing yards. He's completing 67% of his passes, and he's just putting the ball in the end zone at a crazy rate as well. On pace for 34 touchdowns so far through the air, only 4 interceptions, and 2 of those were ugly ones that came against Washington in Week 8 there. A 3.7 big-time throw percentage per PFF compared to a 2.8 turnover-worthy play. We know that Mahomes is going to take shots, but we know he's also going to make the big-time plays pretty much more often than he does end up giving the ball away. Look, Mahomes is doing his thing, and he's back at an MVP level. You could argue he is the favorite for most valuable players so far this year, but we know that the Chiefs over the past few seasons have kind of been anchored by their defense. And not to say that, things have kind of flipped this season, because the Chiefs defense is still playing at an absolutely elite level. We know the personnel that they have on that side of the football. They got Trent McDuffie out there. They got George Karlaftis. They got Chris Jones, Nick Bolton. They're all making plays out there for Kansas City, and it's showing in their metrics as well. As we do every week, here's some Chiefs stats to know for you guys. And I know on the offensive side of the ball, they rank in the top 7 in basically every major category. Points per game, they're number 7. Yards per game, they're top 5. Third down conversion rate, they're a top 6 unit. And then red zone scoring, touchdown percentage, they're top 5 in the league as well. They get in the end zone a lot in Kansas City. They convert their third downs a lot in Kansas City. When things matters, when the lights are bright, the Chiefs are going to step up to it. And their defense has been awesome as well. They're top half of the league in a lot of metrics over there as well. They limit their opponents to 16.4 points per game. Number 2 in the National Football League so far this year. Number 4 in opponents' yards per game. I mean, it just looks like the Chiefs are completely back here so far this season. Like, this feels like a rejuvenated unit. The offense is clicking on all cylinders. I mean, Mahomes was making Tyquan Thornton look like a top trade deadline option here through the first few weeks of the season. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster, his career is revitalized every time he goes back to Kansas City, but now he doesn't even have to use those subpar weapons. He's got an excellent receiving core back in the mix, because Rashee Rice is back in the lineup for Kansas City. He's only played 2 games so far this year. He had 7 catches in the first one, 9 catches in the second one. He's at 135 yards. He's already scored 3 times in those 2 games. Rashee Rice can do everything. He's an elite after-the-catch receiver. He's an elite separator and route runner. Elite at the catch point, high point of the football as well. He can do no wrong as a receiver, and Mahomes is lucky to have him out there. The Bills need to be keeping their eyes peeled for Rashee Rice wherever he is in the football field because they work him around in a lot of different ways out there. They didn't even have Rashee Rice in the AFC Championship game against Buffalo this past postseason, so this is going to be a tougher matchup for the Bills having to face Kansas City here offensively. As for the Bills nerd stats that we want to look at this week, I thought this was interesting as far as Buffalo's defense goes. They are second in the NFL in sack percentage, fourth in the NFL in pressure rate. I mean, seventh in the NFL in net adjusted yards per attempt through the air for their pass defense goes. But they're still second to worst in the NFL in opponent yards per carry. So the run defense is still pretty brutal. But as far as getting to the quarterback and their pass defense goes, it's really not too bad. And I want to throw another nerd graph up for you guys here where it just shows just how the offense and defenses are performing with this Oasis stat across the NFL when it compares to the rest of the teams. The Bills are 91st offensive percentile and the 50th in defensive percentile. So, like, it really doesn't seem like things are too bad. Things are too rocky here in Buffalo. A middle-of-the-pack defense and an excellent offense, as we know. If you want to look at this percentile stuff from a week-by-week basis, I mean, that Carolina game was just unbelievable on both sides, man. They were running the ball on easy mode, on rookie mode there, and the defense was taking the ball away at a high rate as well. I mean, the performances against the Jets, the performance against the Dolphins definitely bumped things up here for Buffalo, but they have not been all too bad here on the defensive side. So I think everybody can pump the brakes a little bit on, the Bills need to blow things up and fire people. I know I was a part of that pitchfork crew as well, but I think we can all calm down a little bit here as we get halfway point past the season. Now, as far as the Chiefs injury report goes, as we move into injury news here, previewing this Bills versus Chiefs game, Isaiah Pacheco suffered a knee injury in the Monday Night Football game against Washington, and he's been deemed week to week by Andy Reid over there in KC, so it looks very, very unlikely that he will be available for this game against Buffalo. The Chiefs a solid rushing attack this year so far, but they will be without their top back in Week 9. Trey Smith was out in Week 8 with a back injury. We'll see how long that continues to linger. And then Josh Simmons, their rookie offensive tackle, he was out against Washington as well with a non-football related situation, or not a non-injury related situation, a personal issue. So not sure what the situation really is there. Not sure if he's going to be back in time for this game against Buffalo. But if they're rocking with a couple of backups on that offensive line, this Bills defensive line has to feast. If you guys want that to happen, if you guys want the Bills to destroy the Chiefs in Week 9, go down below and show me. Hit that thumbs up icon. Manifest it. Do not jinx the Bills losing to the Chiefs here in the regular season, so you can go out there and get that #1 seed. Hit that like button. Coming up next, we'll get into the Bills side of things on the injury front. We'll get to my 5 keys to victory, and then we'll get to our score prediction as well to close out today's show. First, though, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor, as today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is better with PrizePicks, and new users can get started with $50 in lineups in their account after you play your first $5. It's daily fantasy made easy. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you just pick more or less on their projected stats. But a lot of apps offer those same things like PrizePicks does, but PrizePicks is the best in the game because they offer exclusive features like stacks. Yes, if you want to put multiple stat projections from one player in the same lineup, you can do so only on PrizePicks. It's also becoming a social event as well. You can follow other creators, you can follow your friends, you can follow celebrities, copy their picks into your lineup as well with the new feed tab. My lineup for this week's football action, with starting on Thursday night, I just cannot pass up on Derrick Henry, more than 89.5 rush yards against the Miami Dolphins. And then moving forward to Sunday, I got Josh Allen, more than 35.5 yards on the ground, and Khalil Shakir, more than 50.5 yards through the air. You can tail my picks or you can fade them. Just do it at PrizePicks. Download the app today and use the code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Let's move into the Bills injury report here, which has not yet officially released. We'll probably get the asterisks on it there. But Terrell Bernard still dealing with that ankle injury. Excuse me. That's a typo on my part there. I apologize. It is a ankle injury for Terrell Bernard, as we know he's been dealing with for the past few weeks. And he was available for the game against Carolina in Week 8, but he was only in for emergency situations. Did not register a snap in that game as Shaq Thompson and Dorian Williams and Joe Andreessen took care of business over there. So hopefully Bernard is ready to go here. He was activated for that game. Would have been able to play in a pinch, but good to know that he gets another week here of rest and not having to put a bunch of stress on that ankle there. Osiris Torrance did see some x-rays after the game against Carolina with a wrist that he was kind of favoring there after the Bills tried a tush push. He was favoring that in the middle of the game. Didn't miss any snaps, but something to monitor there ahead of Week 9. He's been one of the best guards in the league so far this season. Matt Milano still dealing with that pec injury. He was out in Week 8. We'll be monitoring that, as I thought he may have been ready as he was practicing, but we'll see. I presume that he will be ready to go for Week 9. And then Daquan Jones, Josh Palmer, the 2 week-to-week cats for Buffalo. Sean McDermott did not rule out Daquan Jones going to IR, but it's been too long now. I think that if they were going to put him on injured reserve, they would have done it along with Ed Oliver, so he could be coming back here for this game or maybe a week after. And then Josh Palmer, we'll see what his status is as well, dealing with that ankle injury as he was deemed week to week. But the Bills definitely need a separator on the boundary. It would be great if they had him. As far as some roster moves that the Bills made here to supplant some of these injuries that they have, they signed Jordan Phillips, a defensive tackle, to the 53-man roster, as well as Jordan Poyer, so a couple of old friends joining the Bills 53 here. Phillips had a sack against Carolina in Week 8, and Jordan Poyer played with Cole Bishop, and probably some of the best collective safety play that the Bills have seen all season long. So can't complain, but we'll see how long that sticks around. Let's get to my 5 keys to victory here for Buffalo against Kansas City. And number 1, take the football away from the Chiefs. I mean, they were given the Washington Commanders chance after chance after chance to open the scoring and really shift the momentum of this game. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 terrible interceptions against Washington in Week 8. So how about we continue that trend? And how about when the Chiefs cough up the football, the Bills hop on it? Because I know that they haven't had to use so much officiating luck and just nonsensical luck that they had last season where they went 15-2 with the low point differential and all that stuff. But the Chiefs are still getting lucky. They've fumbled 8 times so far this year, and they've lost none of them. Please jump on the football. The Bills have the playmakers to do it. Michael Hoyt forced a fumble in his first Bills game. Joey Bosa, in his first Bills outing, forced a fumble as well. And we saw A.J. Epinesa pick off a screen pass from Andy Dalton here in the flat. The Bills have the playmakers to go out there and do it. They have to be able to execute. Make sure you win the turnover battle in this game because Kansas City doesn't do it too often. When they do, you got to take advantage and turn the game in your direction. Next up, we'll talk about leaning into 21 personnel. If you see the beautiful face on the list right there, that's Bills fullback Reggie Gilliam, who is seen to be fully healthy at this point, played the most snaps of the season thus far against Carolina, and the Bills used him to their advantage. Absolutely. With 21 personnel, what it means is you have 2 backs in there and then 1 tight end. So James Cook plus Reggie Gilliam, they had 11 rushing opportunities against Carolina. They averaged 7.5 yards before contact in that one. So far this season, they're averaging 6.5 yards per rush when they run from 21 personnel. That's second in the National Football League. 4.3 yards before contact per rush. That's first in the NFL, and that's first by a wide margin. New Orleans is second at 2.7 yards before contact per rush from 21 out. Also elite of top 5 in the NFL in EPA per rush from 21 personnel, and they've done it at a top 10 rate as well. So lean into this. I mean, continue the run game. The Bills seem to be really good in open field blocking situations, and James Cook is excellent with the ball in his hands as far as his ball carrier vision goes. So continue to run this and just dominate the Chiefs at the line of scrimmage and impose your will there like you've done so many times this season. Let's talk about keeping the play sheet in Sean McDermott's hands on the defensive side of the ball. It's been something that Bills fans have kind of been noticing here over the past 2 weeks, and it was official when we saw the play sheet in his hand on the defensive side against Carolina here. Working together with Bobby Babich, but I think McDermott is kind of really taking the reins here and just saving face for a young defensive coordinator because we see the Bills mixing it up more than they have all season long. I mean, for the first 7 weeks of the season, they were running cover 3 at a 32% clip. Anthony Cover 1 with these stats here. Shout out to him for this. Now you see the Bills dropping that down to a 27% clip, and you also see their cover 2 coverages are going down way more as well, where they went from 18% in the first 7 weeks to 8% in Week 8 against Carolina. They're mixing in way more cover 4, way more cover 6. So just showing guys different looks than the Bills have kind of been sitting in all season long. Continue to keep things mixed up defensively, and the Bills are just going to be a better football team because of it. Let's talk about the reinforcements on this football team. How about they keep cooking? How about the guys who we saw for the first time in a Bills uniform so far this season in Week 8 continue the production that they had in that matchup against Carolina? Because, I mean, Michael Hoyt, my goodness, what a burst of energy that this guy had for Buffalo on the defensive line. 6 pressures, that was first on the team. 21, nearly 22 pass rush win rate, second on the team. 26.1 pressure rate, first on the team. A 17.4 pass rush productivity grade, that was first on the football team as well. He's making plays He's not making Joey Bosa play 70% of snaps. I am all for it. And Max Harrison, he looks like a veteran out there on the field. I mean, I was watching film, and people were noticing it on Twitter, like, this guy is really engaged in pre-snap communications. He's telling guys where to go. He's aware of the adjustments that he has to make. And he's also made a nice play in the open field tackling as well. I didn't seem to see any coverage lapses for Harrison either in his debut. He looks to be very, very ready. He spoke to the media and said that all of the sideline work that he did, he was taking so many mental reps and just trying to become more ingrained as to what the Bills have going on defense. That's becoming apparent in his on-field production so far this season. And lastly, on our list, it's plain and simple. 17's got to go out there and outperform 15. At the end of the day, we showed you Pat Mahomes' stats before. He's been playing at an MVP level so far this season. But the reality of the situation is, I want to remind everybody that we have 17 and they do not. We have 17 and they do not. And I understand some people may have been looking at the way that Josh Allen was throwing the football in Week 8. Wasn't his best. And I think that a little bit of blame can be put on him. A little bit of blame can be put on the receivers as well for not getting open. When the separation isn't there and your quarterback has 10 seconds to throw, that can get in his psyche a little bit. Then you're going to start to miss the easy looks, the easy throws on some outbreaking routes to the sideline that we saw in Week 8. That's going to happen. So how about some guys get open a little bit, make Josh's life a little easier. And you know what? If that doesn't happen, I'm sure he's going to take it into his own hands and try to scramble a little bit more than he did against Carolina. And that's why I put more than 34.5 rush yards in my PrizePicks. Josh is going to do whatever it takes to win this football game. That's why I believe the Bills might come out victorious in Week 9. With that being said, before I reveal the score that I got predicted, you predict it down in the comment section. Crystal ball time. Let's go. Predict the score of Bills versus Chiefs Week 9 down below. I want to hear from the Mafia right now. My prediction, Bills win in a tight one, in a barn burner, 29-27. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tough. This is probably one of the better Chiefs teams that they've fielded over the past few seasons, and that can't bode well for Buffalo since they haven't beat them in the postseason just yet. But, hey, we're worried about the game that's in front of us right now. We're worried about getting that number 1 seed. Hopefully somebody knocks off the Chiefs before the postseason rolls around, but we're worried about this week. Let's go out there and get a W. That will do it for today's show. Give me a follow over on Twitter at Tyler J. Smith, 2 H's because the name's common, but I am not. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. We'll be live for Bills versus Chiefs on Sunday, 3:45 Eastern Time. We will be here. Join us then. Turn notifications on because we cover your Bills and videos all season long as well. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go, Buffalo.